you guys so much for joining us today for our latest virtual tour. We have Dr. Shirley Steele joining us, and our virtual tour today features her latest gallery installation here at the Kemp Center for the Arts. My name is Kristen Shiplett, and I'm the CEO of the Arts Council here, and we're going to talk about her process, her career, and her exciting work in the art field. So Dr. Shirley Steele, please give us a short introduction about yourself.
Thank you. I'm Shirley Steele, and I grew up here in Wichita Falls. And when I was growing up here, this building, the Kemp, was the library. And especially in the summer, we would come and load up on books, and they would let you have, I think, 6 at a time. So I would always get 6 big books every time I came. Since then, I have become interested in what's called linguistics, which is the study of language and how it works. How language works for us to communicate with each other, and how language works in your brain, and how language works for humans to communicate with computers. And that's part of what this artwork is about, language and computers.
All right. Well, Shirley, what field of study did you start your career in?
Well, linguistics, and I worked in industry. I worked for Texas Instruments. I worked for AT&T Bell Laboratories in New Jersey, and I worked for Unisys Corporation, and there I was doing experiments on how language works. And in particular, in that case, how language works with computers, and how we can talk to computers, and how computers can listen to us. And it's hard to imagine now, but it used to be that you couldn't talk to a computer. Or, well, you could, but it didn't hear you. So it took a lot of research on how to get the computer to recognize what you're saying. And that's called speech recognition, and I worked in that field. And I also worked in what's called speech synthesis. And speech synthesis is the computer talking to you. And you know, sometimes when you hear a computer talk, it sounds real fake and phony. Well, we were all working to make that better. And now some of them are pretty good. But that's what I did when I was working in my research career. And what a research scientist does is investigate how things work in the real world. And that's what we were doing for language, how it works to communicate with computers, with ourselves, and how it works in your brain.
That is very impressive. These students who are watching better be taking notes. But along with being a research scientist, you also studied art as well. That was a passion of yours that you were able to pursue. So tell us more about how you got involved in art and how your career then transformed into being an artist.
When I worked at Bell Labs, Bell Laboratories is in New Jersey, which is real close to New York. And New York is one of the big centers of the art world. And on Monday afternoons, I would leave work early and take the train into New York and take classes at the Art Students League in New York City, because I'd always been interested. And so there I learned drawing from life, painting landscapes, all kinds of different artwork. And then later, I got a different job, and I moved to Philadelphia, where there is the country's oldest art school. And so, after a while, I quit being a scientist and went to art school. And so I learned all sorts of things. I learned how to make prints, I learned how to make woodcuts, I learned how to paint, I learned how to draw a lot. And while I was there, I decided it would be interesting to combine my research ideas that I had been doing before with the artwork. And partly that's what this exhibit is about.
So speaking of this exhibit, let's talk about it and let's give them a close-up look. It is entitled Hello World, Cloud Storage 2.0. So tell us a little bit about the title and then your process of creating this cloud.
Okay, so yes, Hello World. So the title is Hello World, Cloud Storage 2.0. Well, it's 2.0 because I did this once before and this is the second one. So that's easy. Hello World, and here's a piece that says Hello World on it. Hello World, if you learn to program a computer, one of the first things that you'll do probably is learn how to print Hello World to the screen. That's just something everybody does, or almost everybody. That's if you're really programming the computer, not just using Photoshop or something like that. So Hello World kind of means the beginning. It's the beginning of your learning to program. Cloud storage. Well, all these pieces appear floating in the air, and so they're in a cloud. And you can walk through the cloud. In fact, if you want to come through the cloud, and now you can follow me through the cloud. So this is the cloud storage. So that's the title. But my artwork always starts with an idea. I don't want to just make a pretty picture. Nothing wrong with pretty pictures. I like pretty pictures. But my work always starts with an idea, and the idea is that now all over the world, people are learning to program. Not just here in the United States, but everywhere. Everybody's learning to program. Everybody uses computers. And so wouldn't it be interesting to have the phrase Hello World in lots of different languages? So let's see. Okay, here it is in English. Okay, you've already seen that. All right, this is Italian. Ciao mondo. Okay, this language is Tamil, which is spoken in India. And I can't read this. Because you can see it's a different script. This is not what we use in English. But it's very cool. And there are lots of people who speak this language. So,
and Shirley, how many languages do you have featured in this exhibit?
I think there are 28 or 29. This is Japanese here. This says Hello World. And I talk to people who are native speakers of these languages, and they assured me that that's what this says. But you can see, again, the script is not like what we use in English. And so artistically, that's really interesting. But if you're Japanese, you just use this in school and to write stuff. So I have lots of different languages. This is an African language. It says Molo Lizwe. This language is, I cannot pronounce it very well. It's pronounced something like Osa. So it's like the giddy up click is an actual consonant. This is Korean. Again, it's a different script, but it says Hello World. This is French. Oh yes, I recognize it. This is Greek. So again, the Greek letters look a little different, kind of like English letters, but not exactly. Here's another Italian. So, oh, here's this is, let me make sure yeah. This is Hindi. This is also spoken in India, and you can see the script is really different. I was interested in the scripts just because of their aesthetic properties, because they make interesting design things. So, now, you've seen some of the languages, so I should tell you how I do this. First of all, let's start with the English one. What I do is I write a program on the computer. It's not like in Photoshop. It's a basic program that I write. And the program produces an image. And in the image, there's text that says, "Hello World," or in some other language. That's where this comes from, is my original program. And also it does other things, like here's some smiley faces. Now, we didn't really do smiley faces much before computers. Computers, they were kind of around, but computers really made them popular. Here's a play button, more play buttons. These are location balloons, okay?
Shirley, did these have any symbolism in your artwork? The symbols, or
yeah,
is it just
they're symbolic of stuff we do with computers now, okay? So, hello world, we learned to program, and then these things we didn't do before we had computers. We never saw a location balloon before. We didn't really see play buttons that looked like that. So that these symbolic things mean computer stuff, okay? So I get that image, and then I have somebody print it on this clear stuff. See, it's acrylic sheet. It's not glass. It looks kind of like glass, but it's not. And then, come look at this one. This one also is English. You can just barely see it says "Hello World." But then what I do is, once I get the printed version from the printer, I paint on it by hand. So all this stuff was painted either with a paint brush or with a paint marker. See the back, you can paint different from the front. And here, this is, what is this language? This is an African language. This is Bemba. And you can see this thing was printed. I made this in the program that I wrote originally. And here's a play button, location balloons. Oh, here's a start button, a power button. And the script that says "Hello World." And then these green things, that's painted. I painted that on with paint by hand. Oh, and this one, look at this paint. This was with a little, very fine marker. See the little white marks? That took me hours and drove me crazy, but that is painted by hand also. But here's the print that I did on the computer. And this language is Punjabi, spoken in India.
This really is such an interesting combination of digital art and fine art. Do you do other fine art aside from incorporating your digital art? Or do you do traditional painting as well, or just primarily this now?
I have done traditional painting. In fact, the camp owns a big painting of mine, like this big, of an oboe player, and right now it's downstairs. It's got a lot of paint on it, and it's sort of blue and black and gray. And that was several years ago that I painted that. But I think the most interesting thing for me at this time is to combine that sort of painting with this sort of thing, with computers. So I now combine the two techniques. Here are some more pieces that haven't been put up yet. You can see there are tables full. There are going to be more in the cloud. The cloud is about half done at this point. So if you come down to see the show, and I hope you will, the cloud is going to be great big, and you can walk straight through it, which is really cool.
Shirley, why is art important to you, and what would you say to encourage students to pursue art, have art be a part of their lives, study it, and just enjoy it? What would be your advice to these students?
Well, I would say that whatever else you're interested in life, if you can also do art, you're the luckiest person in the world because you get to make people happy. This sort of thing makes me happy, and I think it makes other people happy too. And it makes people think. It's not just a pretty picture. It makes you think, and it makes you happy, and I think that's something that would help everybody do in their life.
Well, thank you guys again for joining us today for our virtual tour. We have so appreciated Shirley joining us and being able to share her artwork and sharing her process and her background with you guys today. Shirley, is there anything that you would like for guests and visitors to take away from this exhibit, which by the way is on display at the Kemp until March? You can go to our website, artscouncilwf.org, to find out more information on all of those details. But Shirley, wrap it up, and what do you want people to come away with this experience?
I hope that anybody who comes to see this exhibit will, first of all, experience delight. It's a wonderful thing to see, but also to be curious about how art and science can interact, maybe also be curious about other languages and how they work to do things that we do with English, and also be curious just about what you can do with art to visually represent an idea.
Thank you guys again. We hope you've had fun watching us today. Thank you to Shirley Steele. We hope that you come by the Kemp Center for the Arts. There's never an admission. You can come in during our business hours, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5. You can ask your teachers to come on field trips here too. It's always great fun to have kids in to the Kemp Center for the Arts. Thank y'all so much. We hope you join us for our next virtual tour in May.